Listen, buddy, we keep repeating ourselves here, but the fact of the matter is, you are a rascal, a dimwit, a nincompoop.
What?
You made a lot of mistakes, and somehow you need to repent for them.
I do? No!
That was good, but still not enough. Open your hand again.
Like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not bad, but still not enough. There's this tribal ritual that might help. And you don't need your head anyway.
That's enough. Now it's your turn.
Dimwit. Servus, Freunde. My name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister. And I somehow feel like we're getting comfortable with the Malayalam classics, don't we, Jimmy?
Oh yes, how could we not? We've only watched a handful, and it's like opening yet another chest full of cinematic treasures.
Today it's Mohanlal and Sreenivasan and Ranjini, Nedumudi, Venu and Viswanathan in Priyadarshan's Chithram from 1988. A screwball comedy drama that had a phenomenal run in cinemas after its release and is still one of the highest grossing Malayalam films of all time.
It ranks number 7 on IMDb's top 50 Malayalam movies, and it of course was remade in Telugu, Hindi, Kannada and Tamil.
The story of Chithram, which means picture, is simple yet intriguing. For the most part it's a variation of a comedy of errors, where the characters play tricks on each other, but also utilize and exploit each other for their benefit, and that unbeknownst to some of the other characters. That's when Chithram is the most fun, but there is also a dramatic core looming inside the story.
Kalyani decides to marry her boyfriend Ravi against her father Ramachandra's wishes, but Ravi breaks up when he comes to know that she would be disinherited. Kalyani's father, who stays in the United States, is unaware of the breakup and comes home to Kerala to spend some time with his daughter and son-in-law. This prompts family friend and advocate Kaimal to hire a thief, Vishnu, to act as Kalyani's husband during Ramachandra's visit.
A great premise that promises entertainment, and it delivers.
No doubt. First, I laughed that Mohanlal's introduction takes some time. I think a little more than 20 minutes. And the scene itself is also very funny.
So the exposition before that is how Kalyani's marriage plans are crossed. It's rather serious, but after that, when Vishnu's a part of the picture, we have 90 minutes of pure entertainment. Real comedy gold in some moments. Fast-paced, great timing, a lot of fun banter between Vishnu and Kaimal, Vishnu and Kalyani, Kaimal and Kalyani.
Nambia, played by Sreenivasan, is also in the mix because he wants to have what Vishnu has in regards to Ramachandra's property. The quarrels go in every direction. Everybody wants to gain something, be it property or money or something else. A few extra characters that cause even more confusion do also appear. There's a lot going on.
But of course the heart of the story is Vishnu's and Kalyani's relationship and how it grows.
We often criticize or rather notice the raw editing of older Indian movies, but Chithram is actually a really fine production. Not only is it beautiful to look at, but the team behind the movie obviously had a well thought out plan and a lot of ideas, and that, among other things, become apparent in the editing.
Yeah, two moments come to mind where certain shots are repeated or edited in line to evoke a specific emotion in the audience. One is when Vishnu decides to leave because he doesn't get paid anymore and Kalyani runs after him only to find out that he never really wanted to go. Another one is how Kaimal realizes that Kalyani slowly falls in love with Vishnu. So the moment when Kalyani comes to the door and tells Kaimal that the food is ready and that he should call Vishnu is edited in line with other times she did that, and Kaimal notices the change in how she's addressing Vishnu.
That's a lovely scene. Chithram really stands out from the movies we've seen so far. It's possible that a lot of classics do that, but I think for us us, Chithram is kind of a first. And it's not only the idea and plan behind it or the editing alone. The script is quite witty as well. The screwball-like dialogue and all the funny types of communication that the characters have.
Yeah, when Vishnu and Kaimal try to tell each other something or they simply want to talk and they only make and other sounds, I laughed out loud. Great performances across the board. You can see that the actors had the time of their life.
Absolutely. From time to time it does run danger of becoming a little bit repetitive, but there's always another great scene up ahead. So you don't really mind.
Well, all the different shenanigans are held together decently enough, but Chithram, which is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, could have actually ended after just 2. After that hilarious fight between Vishnu, Nambiar and Ravi. Things come to light, problems are solved, everything's in place, but...
something happens that's not at all unusual in Indian cinema, but for us, it's still strange.
Spoilers from here on out.
So, simply put, after 2 hours, another movie begins. A new character comes in, a jail superintendent, and we learn that Vishnu is an escaped convict who is sentenced to death. He actually has only 5 days left until his execution.
You saw the movie before me, so I was kind of prepared that something special will happen, because you teased me. But I was still very surprised when the movie took that U-turn after we reached a happy ending after 2 hours.
We would never ever see something like that in a Western movie. We are accustomed that a movie pretty much sets its tone, its genre, its characters and the basic story in the very beginning, and that it won't depart too much from that. To shift a genre, for example, is very rare, like From Dusk Till Dawn, which starts as a normal gangster thriller and then becomes a supernatural vampire horror film. And with Chithram, it feels a little bit like getting thrown from a moving train.
The first 2 hours are constantly moving forward in this romantic comedy way until we reach the end, but then it's like we start all over again. We get this flashback where we learn that Vishnu was a photographer who was married to a mute woman named Revati, and that they also had a child. One day he came home to find a man in his house. As he fought him, Revati died by accident. Maybe we could have foreseen all that?
Well, he does that with his fingers, which implies some kind of photography background, but other than that we don't really get anything.
He's totally drunk that one time, but even then he gives us nothing. I immediately thought if it wouldn't have been better if they had spread out some hints throughout the movie, or maybe even small flashbacks, because this way it feels like an attachment at first. Of course, it hits hard.
I think it has the potential to hit hard. I'm pretty sure that audiences cried their hearts out when they first saw the movie, but I'm not always a big fan of these kind of tonal shifts. I was in a totally different mindset when that change happened, and it was almost impossible for me to let all that drama and tragedy really come close to me. With a second viewing, that would probably change, and the first 2 hours would feel very bittersweet, but the first time I was more baffled by it all. I think it's also very easy to manipulate the audience with something like that, because you can always just add something in the end that nobody expected. I mean, how could you?
Yeah, I quite agree, but to be honest, I didn't have that much problems with it. I was baffled at first, but then I was also relieved that the flashback was over after 15 minutes, because I was afraid that it would go on till the end just to cut back to the present for a minute or so. And like I said, it hits hard, and because of it, we get that wonderful music scene at the end.
One of two wonderful sequences where Vishnu, Kaimal and Ramachandran make music together. And in general, the songs by Kanu Rajan and the score by Johnson are very good.
He's called Johnson Master for a reason.
And to make it clear, it's not that I dislike that twist and the last 40 minutes, it's just not my thing, to be honest.
It's totally fine and I get it. I think as a little resume, I can say that Chithram is probably my favorite of the Mohanlal classics that we've seen so far. Slightly ahead of Kiredam. I'm quite surprised myself, but I thought the whole package was just very entertaining. Great comedy, well done drama, and it had some really tense and thrilling stuff as well.
For me, it's slightly behind Kiredam, but ahead of Devasuram and Nadodikatu. So you can have this one. What would we say in German about Chithram?
Saukomisch, spannend, geistreich und auch tragisch. Chithram bietet ein tolles Gesamtpaket. Vor allem die ersten 2 Stunden sind Unterhaltung auf höchstem Niveau. Ob man den letzten Akt mag oder nicht, muss man einfach selbst entscheiden.
I give Chithram 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.4, but I don't do that.
For me, it's 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.2, but I don't do that either. I got a good one today, ready?
Yes.
Did you know that we've seen Dure Kisa Kurikum once before? It's the song and dance sequence where Vishnu and Kalyani hug and act like they love each other for Ramachandra's sake, or rather in Ramachandra's fantasy.
We've seen that one before?
Yes, in Vadakunoki Yantram, the scene in the cinema when Dineshan becomes jealous of Mohanlal and loses his temper.
Right, nice one.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts about Chithram? Leave a comment and hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and now also on Patreon simply at the Jimmy Cage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at the Buddymeister.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.